There we go. Hello and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Believe it or not, it's going to be a great time tonight. I can hear the dogs howling in the background. It's one of those things that, just seems to always come up as I start to do this show. The dogs go wild. It's like my audience in the background. Well, thank you all for coming tonight. We're doing a live stream tonight. So no crazy intros and all of that good stuff. But we're doing it live. Actually, I couldn't press the button fast enough. But still trying to work that thing out, It's always goofy. But anyway, joining me tonight, of course, is just myself. And I am doing the book Enoch. The book of Enoch. We're going to go through here. And I also got the Lost Pillars of Enoch. Now, I have marked a few spots in here that I referenced throughout the ages. I read through this book quite a long time ago. And there was a lot of cool things in here that I want to talk about. We're on this thing, we're talking about religion till Easter. And we're talking about how religion has ruled the world, how it's been an anomaly that's controlled us, made us live in fear, has deceived us more than you could probably ever know. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be spiritual. I mean, there's a difference between spirituality and believing in something more or something unknown. But then again, it's, having a religion and following that, having faith. And that was one of the things I take notes and I write these things down and I write down little things that really mean a lot. And I wanted to go through what faith is. Faith is the evidence of things hoped for. So do you have faith? Do you hope? I think that's what keeps us going. That's what keeps us waking up in the morning. That's what keeps us going to work. The hope that you'll work at your job, you'll make some money, you'll pay your bills, and life will be good. The hope that by the weekend comes, you'll have a little free time to do some stuff that you really wanted to do. The hope that you'll make it to old age. The hope that you'll live another day. You'll get to see your grandkids or your children or your brothers and sisters or whatever it may be. So you live from day to day. Think of the hope. And that keeps you motivated and going for year after year after year, no matter how much pain you're in, how much despair you're in, depression, whatever. It's that hope that drives you. And it's the fear of things that steers you down the life path that you're going. If you had no fear, then you would be free to do whatever you want, or at least a lot more than you think you could. It's the fear and doubt that steer you in the directions that you might or might not want to go. Thank you all for coming tonight. Susie Coos in the house, Elderberry, Travis the Brick. What's up, Paul? I'm watching Star Trek and listening at the same time. Oh gosh, we love Star Trek. I wonder what episode. New track or old track? That's the thing. And Elderberry, thank you. And so that's what it boils down to, is the faith, evidence of things hoped for. Now, as we talked about Enoch, it seems like to me that the book of Enoch was thrown out because it's too descriptive of what I would say God really was. Because if you really put it together, it sounds like a captain and a ship or a chain of command. we got different spots in here. I'm going to read a little bit about out of the lost pillars for a second. I got some stuff in here that I marked, and I don't know why I marked it, but I marked it at some point or another, and it must have been important. While John Dee in Primal Mathematics, while recommending lucid to artisans as well as scholars and gentlemen, did John Dee, who lived in the year 1527 to 1608. That was a long time ago. You know, he was considered one of the great wizards. He was kind of a mysterious man. He was also the first 007, licensed to kill from the Queen. Insists that architecture was a liberal art. Among other things, mathematical. Never go to be regarded as second trade. So, you know, he was a man of knowing. He knew about geometry. This guy, I would have loved to meet him. He must have been a super genius. I mean, him and like people like Newton, they thought of mathematics as a language, literally. Newton invented mathematical equations in a whole different type. It says here, Lucid taught geometry, masonry to the sons of great lords, but Dee also insisted on there being two aspects of mathematics, which encompassed architecture. First, the earthly concern with the measurements. Second, the heavenly concerned with the Platonic realm of pure ideas and divine intelligibility. The complexion of the arts, such as the view, also has its place in assessing the kind of thinking that we may have informed the deception. So he used mathematics to think of the arts, and he used mathematics to think of the other realms. Now that's some thinking out of the box. Obviously, Dee is most remembered today for his controversial angelic conversations and the reception of what he called the angelic language, called Enochian. Later, while Dee's status and relevance to our story is better understood in terms of his alchemical geometry and mathematical ideas, he is held to another theme in the common of Masonry, namely the perfilability of universal man, of which perfection Enoch was the prototype. Wow. Okay. So what does that have to do with our buddy Enoch, who's here where we left off reading the other day? He was a prototype man. He was a man who followed orders. That's what I'm getting out of this. Enoch literally followed orders. Let's see, where did I leave off? Chapter 10, 12, 11, 12, 16. I don't remember. I marked it here somewhere where I left off, but little did I know I would come back to it so fast. But anyhow, chapter 8. Okay, so as we read about Enoch, this is what baffles me the most, is Enoch was just following orders. He was a righteous man. He followed the Lord to a T. He didn't argue with him. He just did what he was told to do. Basically, he was a yes man. He talked with the watchers. He went back and he was a middleman in between, but he didn't know a lot. I've been reading this book over and over, and if we'll follow along with me, we'll read some of this here too tonight. Okay, chapter 8. Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, made known to them the metals of the earth. So up until that time, Enoch, or the people didn't know about any of this, which makes no sense. So there was no metals on the earth until Azazel came along and taught it. And the art of working them, the bracelets and ornaments, and the use of autonomy, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. Yeah, that's for you women out there. Lady Spellbreaker's in the house. Thank you for coming. We wanted to hear about Enoch too. See, Enoch, Azazel, he made colors and tinctures for the women to make themselves beautiful. And there arose much godliness, or godlessness. Yeah, godlessness. And they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Semjaiah taught enchantments, and root cutting. Meros, the revolving of enchantments. Barbecue taught astrology. There you go. There's where you get the astrology from. And Cobal, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Eriquil, the signs of the earth. And Shemzel, the signs of the sun. So each guy had his like they were teachers. They knew stuff. Kind of sounded like they were professors. Can you imagine a bunch of professors with all this technology coming down and telling people how things really worked? Okay. And the men perished. They cried. Their cry went up to heaven. Chapter 9. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being brought upon the earth. Well, you know why? Because they got swords and they had metal. They got jealous of each other because of the spells and the astrology and the coloring of the women and the blah 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 blah. And I could go on and on. Why else would they? They were populating the land and they were jealous of each other. Okay. And they said to one another, the earth made without inhabitant cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. My thought is if heaven was that close and they could hear him from earth, they weren't that far away now, were they? And now to you, the holy ones of the heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. You notice they said Most High. Is that Most High like if you had a captain or a general? And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne of thy glory unto the generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious, and blessed until all the ages. See, that's what I mean. It sounds like he's the general, he's the captain. Yes, sir, yes, sir. You know, nobody higher than him. We got to obey what he says. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou, and all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. So if that was true, then how did Cain kill Abel and God didn't know where he was? How did Adam and Eve hide in the Garden of Eden? God didn't know where he was. Did you ever start thinking about that? So these stories contradict themselves big time. Thou seest what Azazel hast done, and hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were in heaven, which men were striving to learn. So what? Those secrets? Why would the gods in heaven need to know about astrology? Why would they need to know about metalworking? Why would the gods in heaven need to know about, women wearing ornaments? Did you ever ask that question? Thou seest, let's see, and Semjah, whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed them all kinds of sins. Well, yeah, I suppose so, because they were breaking the rules. The men that were sent down as soldiers have now broken the rules, because obviously The men and women of the time were probably doing that anyway. But now the soldiers, the professors, they were breaking the rules. Anybody argue with that? And there's Slightly Slanted Sleuth. Steve, how you doing? Mary wins. Mary wins. I finally got your package. I sent you an email. Your package came back in the mail. And the women have borne giants. See, maybe that's why they didn't want to, because they bore giants. And the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now behold the souls of those who have died and are crying and made their suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentations have ascended and cannot cease because of the lawlessness deeds which are wrought upon earth. And thou knowest of all things before they have come to pass, and thou seest that things thou dost suffer from them. And it goes on and on about them to regard these. Anyway, you get the drift. We'll skip right over that. We're take forever to read all this. Chief Remeldian Olympus and Annie Allen, haven't seen you in a while. Oh, okay, Mary. I see you. Yeah, I didn't check my email. Now it's on me. The Most High of High, chapter 10. We're on chapter 10 now. Then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One, spake and sent to Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, Go to Noah, and tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, and the whole earth will be destroyed, and the deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy all that is on it. Yeah, so there you go. So Enoch and Noah were all there at the same time. And so that's who told Noah. And then the deluge is on its way. Well, how long did it take before the deluge came? And why? Why? Because they were doing all this stuff. It's because of the giants. It was because the women have borne giants. And they were eating and destroying. They were doing everything bad. Okay, and I think they wanted to get rid of the giants because they made a hybrid. Okay, let's see. Chapter 10. And now they instructed him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all generations in the world. And again the Lord said to Raphael, Blind Azazel's hands, and bind his hands and feet, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudal, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face, that he may not see the light. Ooh, that is a little bit forever of horrible torture pain. Is that really? Why didn't he throw him into hell? Did hell not exist at that point? If God was so almighty powerful, why couldn't he just snap his fingers? If he was in control over everything and everyone, and why couldn't he do that? Why did he have to dig a hole in the desert and cover him with all that stuff? And why cover his face? It starts to beg to wonder. There's two different thoughts of point here. You're saying that God can do everything, but yet you have to do these horrible things to these people, or these angels anyway, the watchers, you should say. Okay, and on the day of the great judgment, he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague. So there's a plague too, the plague of the giants. And that all the children of men may not perish, though all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. Well, I think that didn't work out so well either. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. And to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed again the bastards and the reprobates, and again the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have, and no request that they make of these shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf, for they hope to live eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. Really? 500 years? See, they're getting back up to that 500-year mark again. Okay. Looking at the chat, sorry, people. The Lord sent until Michael, go bind Zemjah and his associates who have united themselves with the women, so as to have defiled themselves with them in their uncleanliness, and when their sons have slain one another. See, that's where the giants were fighting. Remember that story I went through about the lost book of Og? That's the story they're talking about. Their sons have slain one another. That's the battle of the giants, the 100,000 giant war, the Nephilim war. Okay, one another, and they've seen the destruction of their beloved ones. Bind them fast for 70 generations in the valley of the earth, till the day of their judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. So 70 generations. So how many years is that? If they live 500 years times 70. Somebody figure that out for me? Jargo Smith's in the house. Thank you for coming. Yes. 70 generations, 500 years of peace. Okay, in those days they should be led off to the abyss of the fire and to the torment of the prison, in which they shall be confirmed forever. And whoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from therefore be bound together with them at the end of all generations. I still want to know that number. Somebody do the math. And destroy all their spirits of the reprobate and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear. I hate to tell you, man, that wrongness isn't like a building where you can tear it down and then it's gone. You know what I'm saying? Does anybody understand that out there? If you have wrongness in the world, you can't just tear it down and then it goes away. It has to change. Wrong has to change into right. It can never just change. Does anybody understand that? It has to change. It's like a flower, or a plant. It grows, and just because you cut it down, there's a root there. You didn't get rid of the root. The plant has to grow. It has to die, and then it has to set out seeds and then try it again. But if the plant's still alive and it has a root, it'll grow back, and that's what I think is happening. What happened? Okay, yeah. Let's see. Let's go on. Righteousness. Okay, and they shall prove all blessings and works of righteousness, and truth shall be planted in truth. Truth shall be planted in truth, and joy forevermore. Well, does everybody have joy? There's never enough joy to go around. And there shall be righteous escape. All the righteous should escape. And they shall live till they beget thousands of children. And all the days of their youth and their old age, they shall complete and live in complete peace. And they shall the whole earth be tilled in righteousness, and shall be planted with trees and be full of blessings. Basically saying, I'm going to cultivate, get rid of the bad people, cultivate a society where you're dumbed down and stupid and you just do what you're told. Because how else would you be a righteous person if you're not complacent? Has anybody got complaints with this? Do you see what it's saying? It's saying eliminate all your free will and do what I say, and that's the only choice you have. and then he's happy. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Listen to this. And all desirable trees planted on it shall plant vines on it, and the vine which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And for all the seed which is sown thereon, each measure shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil. And cleanse thou the earth from all oppression, and from unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all the uncleanliness. And it is wrought upon the earth, destroy from off the earth. And all the children of men shall become righteous, and all the nations shall offer adoration, and shall praise me, and all shall worship me. And the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement, and from all sin, and from all punishment, and from all torment. And I will never again send upon it from generation to generation and forever. Okay, I don't know about you, and I would love it if you wanted to come on here and argue with me about it. But to me, it sounds like this guy wants to make a utopia. As long as you show praise for me, and you all shall worship me, and the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement, from all the sins, which we know what a sin is that you missed the mark, you didn't obey the rules. So everybody's obeying the rules. Everybody praises this guy. And we shouldn't have a problem now, should we? It sure sounds like he's trying to make a utopia. Sounds like communism. Am I wrong? Is it communism? Socialism to another degree? I think so. Yes, busy fellow that Enoch. And in those days I will open up the store. This is chapter 11 anyway. In those days I will open up the store chambers of blessings which are in the heavens, so as to send them down upon earth over the work and labor of the children of men. And the truth and peace shall be associated together throughout all the days of the world and throughout all generations of men. Well, it doesn't sound like that worked out so great for at least a couple thousand years or better. Before these things, Enoch was hidden, and no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden, and where he abode, and what he had become of him. And his activities had to do with the watchers, and in these days were the holy ones. And I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord of majesty, and the King of kings, King of ages, and lo, the watchers called me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, thou scribe, righteousness, go, declare to the watchers of the heavens, who have left the high heaven and holy eternal place, have defiled themselves with women, and have done the children of earth do, and have taken upon themselves wives, yet ye wrought great destruction on the earth. Well, you know what? With great power comes great responsibility. And if you took a bunch of barbarians and you gave them technology way before they were supposed to have it, of course they're going to use it. You know, they're going to use it in a bad way. And there's Lucky Stone. Lucky Stone, welcome. Howard, did you see my comment on the hybrid race? And RH blood type, is that the Anunnaki blood? It could be. It could very well be. RH is something to look at because it's just not everywhere. And it's a hybrid. You know, we're all hybrids. Right now, we are all hybrids. Come on, look at yourself. And tell me you're not a hybrid. You say you're a human, but do you really even belong on this planet? You know, I asked myself that one day. Do I really belong here? I have weak skin. I have weak bones. I can't go out in the weather. You know, for being an animal upon this earth in a meat suit body, I'm weak at everything. I have no weapons of defense except my voice. Without these clothes, I would freeze to death. Um, you know what I'm saying? Why is that? Why do I have hair on my head, but I don't have hair all over my body to keep me warm? Why is that? Why, am I supposed to live in the water? But then if I lived in the water, my skin gets all wrinkly because it doesn't belong in the water. Um, it's either too cold or too hot. If I'm in the sun, my skin burns. If I'm out in the cold too long, I freeze to death. I get frostbite because I don't belong in this world. This body was not designed to live here comfortably. Does anybody get that? That's what I'm saying is whatever I am, I'm good at one thing, and that's working. I'm a good worker. I have these fingers, they can do a bunch of things. I have eyes to see what I need to do, but I can only see so much of the spectrum of light. My light spectrum precipitation perspective is very limited. I can only see what I need to see to get the job done. My brain capacity, just big enough to accomplish small tasks. Living, breathing, working, doing simple tasks, pressing some buttons, reading some words, sometimes doing some equations. Other than that, my brain is small and it doesn't retain much. I fill it full of as much information in the short period of time that I live, and then it's all gone when I die. Poof, gone. And even if I do come back in reincarnation, it's mind wiping. I got to start all over from scratch, limiting me to what I can actually accomplish. So, do I really belong here? I don't have great strength. I can't lift giant logs or giant boulders and build castles or bridges. It needs hundreds of men and ingenuity and things. Eventually, those things wear out and they run away. Does anybody understand the? Am I coming from the wrong place? Please put in the comments. If you think I'm wrong, because if I am wrong, well, then so be it. So is Anunnaki the? Okay, there we go. I got to get this on there. Anunnaki is the bloodline of Christ? No, and yes, I think it might be. Well, at least that's mine. Okay, got that one. Okay. All the names changed and the religions confused everyone. Yes, religions have confused everybody. Does anybody really know the truth about anything anymore? The Catholic religion has hit everything in the bottom of the Vatican. And I'm keeping mad. Yes. I mean, who shouldn't be mad about that? Because they made us smart apes. Jargo Smith, I agree with you. They made an ape, but then they took away our strength. One monkey has the strength of multiple people. They have bones that are solid like rocks. They could get hit by a truck, walk away. You try to get hit by a truck. You can't lift large logs. A monkey or an ape, they're incredibly strong. This is a long one. That's why we go to the beginning, the exact moment of creation. That's who I love, the Creator, whomever they may be, with eternal gratitude. Yes, the Creator who made you. And try to go to the beginning, the exact moment of creation. Okay. When was that? Susie, I want to know when that was. And then where were you created? That's the bigger question. Are you or me really even here? Because, are we just using this meat suit body to get around? That's the bigger question. Are we an invisible spirit that inhabits this body, and we're tied to it to the day we die. And we've been tricked here to inhabit it, like made some sort of deal with these guys. Well, let's go on from here. Okay, so what happened is Enoch was a believer. He was one of the line that worked his way up from Adam and Eve. So he was one of the line of hybrids, I would say, that worked his way up to believing in this guy, and nobody else did. And then he got to be the intermediate for the Watchers. Okay, and therefore they could not speak with him. Oh yeah, the Watchers couldn't. So they used it as an intermediary, whatever. Nor lift their eyes to heaven for shame of their sins for which they had been condemned. So apparently they couldn't get back up to the ship. They wrote out their petition and their prayers in regard to their spirits and their deeds individually, and regarded to their requests that they should have forgiveness in the length of days. And I went off and sat down at the waters of Dan, in the land of Dan, to the south of the west of the Hermon. And I read their petition till I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and a vision fell upon me, and I saw the visions of chastisement. And a voice came biting me to tell it was the sons of heaven, and reprimand them. And I went awkward, and I came unto them, and they were all sitting gathered together, weeping, as Abjel, which is between Lebanon and Sinzar, and their faces covered. And I recounted before them all the visions which I had seen in sleep. And I began to speak the words of the righteous to the reprimand, the heavenly Watchers. So Enoch didn't even get off the planet Earth. He's seen all of this in a vision. He was doing an outer body experience to get there. There you go. That's what happened. Because now we have words to describe it. We know what that is. The book of chapter 14, the book of words of righteousness and the reprimand and the eternal Watchers, in accordance with the command of the Holy Great One in that vision. So, you know why Enoch couldn't go to the heavens? Because he had a body. He had a body that wasn't fit for space. There you go. It's my opinion anyway. I saw in my sleep that I will now say with the tongue of flesh, which the breath of my mouth, which the Great One has given to men to converse within there and understand with the heart. As he has created and given to the man the power of the understanding, the word of wisdom, so hath he created me also, and given me the power of reprimanding the Watchers and the children of heaven. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision it appeared thus, that your petition will not be granted unto your thought throughout all the days of eternity, and that judgment has been finally passed upon you. Ye will not be granted unto you. Basically, they got a no vote. The general said, yeah. And from henceforth you shall be ascended into heaven unto all eternity, and in bonds of the earth the decree has gone forth to bind you for all the days of the world. So who came down from heaven to do all of this? That's what I wonder. Who came down? This is a good one. I like this. Like coral, symbiotic relationship. Coral suit little guys live inside of. That is so true. Yes. Because this body, isn't really made for this place. And if anybody can tell me different, you just go right ahead. Okay, let's see. Let's skip down to here. Okay, after henceforth you shall not ascend into heaven unto all eternity in the bonds of earth. Okay, and the petition of their behalf shall not be granted. Speak the words, vision shown in the clouds. Behold, in the vision of the clouds invited me, in the mist summoned me, and the course of the stars and lightning speed and hastened me, and the winds in the vision caused me to fly, and lifted me upward and bore me into heaven. And I went in till I drew nigh, no, or to a wall which is built of crystals and surrounded by tongues of fire, and it began to arriff me, arriff me, yeah, whatever it is. I guess it really doesn't matter, but doesn't that sound a wall built of crystal? It sounds like a spaceship. And surrounded by tongues of fire. Well, that could be the burners of the ship. And it began to upright me. And when I went into the tongues of the fire and drew nigh into a large house, which was built of crystals. And the walls of the house were like a tensilled floor made of crystals, and the groundwork was of crystals. Basically, a giant crystal ship. Can you imagine a giant crystal ship? That must have been a thing. Its ceiling was like the path of the stars, and the lightnings, and between them were fiery cherubim, and their heaven was clear as water. A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its portholes blazed with fire. Well, that really makes sense, because think about it. All the stars whizzing past, you could see everything, especially in crystal, which would make it kind of awkward. It would kind of like make it bedazzled, give it that, cool light. Anyway, so let's see what we can call him. Monkeys. Oh yeah, that's a good one too. I like this one. There you go. Monkeys have tails. Monkeys are not apes. Chimpanzees are not monkeys, unless you call them human monkeys. Yes. Okay. Let's see. What's more about the ship? I entered it in a house, and it was hot as fire and cold as ice, and there were no delights of life therein. Fear covered me, and trembling got hold upon me, and I quaked and trembled. I fell upon my face. Of course you would. You're scared to death. You were picked up in a whirlwind, put up in a craft, surrounded by fire and crystal and space. And you've never been to space before. You're probably freaking out. And I beheld a vision, and was a second house, greater than the former. An entirely portal stood open before me, and it was built of flames of fire. And in every respect it so excelled in splendor and magnificence, and extended, and I cannot describe to you its splendor or its extent. And its floor was of fire, and above it were lightnings, and the path of the stars, and its ceiling also was flaming fire. You're going through space, man. You're going through space. You can see through think about it. You're inside a crystal flying through space. You're going to see stars, and you're going to see fire, and you're going to see all these things whizzing by you at the speed of light. Didn't you ever look out the porthole when you're watching Star Trek? And I looked in and saw therein a lofty throne, and appeared was of crystal, and what else would it be? And the wheels thereof as a shining sun, and there was a vision of a cherubim. And from underneath the throne came streams of fire, flaming fire, so that I could not look thereon. And the great glory sat thereon, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun, and the whiter than whiter than any snow. None of the angels could enter and could behold his face by reason of the magnificence and glory, and no flesh could behold him. Well, Enoch, if you're in the room with the great glory who's sitting on the throne, and the angels couldn't go in there, how did you get in there? None of the angels could enter and could behold his face by reason of magnificence and glory, and no flesh could behold him. The flaming fire was round about him, and the great fire stood before him, and none around could draw him nigh. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, yet he needed no counselor. Yeah, he's the general. And until then, I had been prostrate on my face. So he's literally flat on his face, kneeling on his face. Weak tit. He's just scared to death. And until then, I had been prostrate on my face, trembling. And the Lord called upon me with his own mouth, and said to me, Come hither, Enoch, and hear my word. And one of the holy ones come to me and wake me. And he made me rise up and approach the door. And I bowed my face downwards. So, it sounds to me like Enoch was a scared man. He was terrified. He was terrified. And he answered and said, this is chapter 15 anyway, and he answered and said to me, I heard his voice, fear not, Enoch, thou righteous man, and scribe of the righteous, approach hither and hear my voice. Yeah, basically here, you want me to change that up a little bit? He answered and said to me, I heard his voice. He said, fear not, because you are a stupid man. You do whatever I say, so get over here, you idiot. Approach hither and hear my voice, and I'm going to tell you. You just listen to my words, because you go out and do anything I say, I'm sure. And go say to the watchers of heaven. See, this is where he's saying it. This is just what he says. And go say to the watchers of heaven. It almost makes me laugh, because I'm thinking, what the heck? And go say to the watchers of heaven, who have sent thee to intercede for them. You should intercede for men, and not for men for you. Therefore, have ye left the high and holy and eternal heaven, and lain in with the women, and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken to yourselves wives, and done like the children of earth, and begot giants as your sons? And though ye were holy, spiritual, living an eternal life, you have defiled yourselves with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh, and as the children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as those also who die and perish. Therefore have I given them wives also, they might impregnate them and beget children by them, that thus nothing might be wanting to them on earth. But you were formerly spiritual, living an eternal life, and immortal for all generations of the world. Maybe there's a price to pay for being eternal, being immortal. That's the price you have to pay. Ever think of that? You have to pay a price for being immortal and eternal. In Jabberwocky. Good, I didn't think it would be a flying again. Okay. I have to be able to do anything to fly. Okay. Anyway, but you were formerly spiritual and living. Okay, we did that. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies, because they are born from men, and from the holy watchers is their being and primal origin. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits they shall be. Maybe they didn't have souls. So if you don't have a soul, could you be evil? Could you just do evil? I don't know too many people who intentionally go out and do evil. Most people do evil things out and say, I'm going to kill thousands. Okay, I wonder what happened there. I froze up. Sorry, people. We're going to go in. And the spirits of the giants afflicted, oppressed, and destroyed attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble. They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst, and cause offenses. And these spirits shall rise up against the children of men and against the women, because they have proceeded from them. Oh boy. Chapter 16. From the days of the slaughter and destruction and death of the giants, so that must have been after the 100,000 giant war, and from the souls of whose flesh and spirits have gone forth, shall destroy without incurring judgment. Thus shall they destroy until the day of the consummation. and the great judgment of which the age shall be consummated over the watchers and the godless, yea, shall be wholly consummated. Consummated. And you have been in heaven, but all the mysteries had not yet been revealed to you. There's mysteries in heaven. So now they're going to give Enoch a tour of the mysteries of heaven, because he's on the ship. I tell you, he's on the ship. Okay, and we're on chapter 16, which age shall be consummated. Okay, and now to the watchers who have sent thee to intercede for them who have been aforetime in heaven. So they've been in heaven before. You have been in heaven, but all the mysteries have not been revealed to you. And you knew worthless ones, and meaning people, and these in the hardness of all your hearts you have made known to the women, and through these mysteries women and men work much evil on earth. Say to them, therefore, you have no peace. Chapter 17. And they took and brought me to the place in which those who were there were like flaming fire, and they wished they appeared as men. And get this. And when they wished, they appeared as men. So basically, they weren't men. They appeared to him as men. So what were they? That's the big question. What were they? There's all kinds of clues in this. And they brought me to a place of darkness, and to a mountain, the point of whose summit reached to the heavens. And I saw the places of luminaries, and the treasuries of the stars, and of the thunder, and in the uttermost depths where there were fiery bows and arrows, and their quivers, and a fiery sword, and all the lightnings. He's talking about an armory. That's what I'm thinking. He's talking about the armory. And they took me to the living waters, and to the fiery of the west, and the receives everything setting of the sun, to the bow of the ship. And I came to the river of fire, in which the fire flows like water, and it discharges itself into the great sea towards the west. Could that be the ship's engines? The fire, the water, the liquid water going west, turning into fire. Come on, think about it. Come on, open up your little brains there and say, yes, the waters turn into fire and they go to the west because the ship is going from west to east, a rotation around the earth. Pretty smart, eh? That's because I'm a genius. I'm a genius. I'm not telling anybody. Shh, it's our secret. He's the heck out of me. Okay. Okay. You're still on awesome. Okay. I don't know what that means. Okay. I saw a great river came to the river, and the great darkness of the. Okay. I saw the mountains of the darkness of winter, and the place whence all the waters of the deep flow. I saw the mouths of all the rivers of the earth, and the mouth of the deep. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation, and the firm foundations of the earth. And I saw the cornerstone of the earth. I saw the four winds which bear the firmament of the heaven. And I saw how the winds stretched out the vaults of heaven, and have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of heaven. I saw the winds of heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. That's because he's in the ship and he's looking down upon the earth. He sees the winds and the clouds, and he's seeing the north and south pole. Steve, you're bowling again. Good for you. Okay, I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the paths of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. And I proceeded and saw a place which burns day and night, where there are 7 mountains of magnificent stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. And for those towards the east once was of colored stone, and one of pearl and one of jacinth, and those towards the south of redstone. But the middle one reached to the heaven like the throne of God of alabaster, and the summit of the throne was of sapphire. And I saw the flaming fire, and I'm beyond these mountains. In the region, the end of the great earth, there the heavens were complete. And I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond the measure, alike towards the height and towards the depth. And beyond that, the abyss, I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly found earth beneath it, and there was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was a waste and horrible place. I saw there were 7 stars like great burning mountains, and to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the hosts of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transcended the commandment of the Lord, in which the beginning of their rising became because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them, and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years." Wow. So you see the 7 in another incarnation of the 7 Hermetic principles. Yes. Oh, Steve, you are so right on. See, the expert is speaking of the creation of the cosmos. Yeah, so did get on the spaceship and fly to the ends of the universe, or back far enough that you could see the galaxy? It sounds like that. I would think that would look like creation. See, you see the heaven. 7 is another literary 7 hermetics. 777. See? Or 7 candles. Yes. I get it. Right on. Chapter 19. Chapter 19 is really short, so we're going to read that one and call it a day. And Uriel said to me, "Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged, till they are made at end of. And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens. And I, Enoch, alone saw the vision and the ends of all things, and no man shall see as I have seen." Yeah, because you were having an outer body experience, Enoch. That's what I'd be telling them. You had an outer body experience because you couldn't take this human body and get up there. So you keep having these outer body experiences, and you go up there and you mingle around in this crystal freaking, spaceship thing, and then they travel all over the universe and show you things, and you tell you things. See, there you go. And of course, Steve with his wise words, you see the 7 is another illustration for 7 Hermetic principles. Yes. Well, maybe I did that one already. Oh, okay. Sorry. Put that up there too many times. Now, chapter 20. Okay, we're going to stop right there. But anyway. So you burst into abyss. Okay, that one's a good one too. Gee, Steve, you always write the best stuff. Look at this. The moment of ascension, you burst into the abyss where you see the light. That is what the book is referring to over and over. Yes. Well, I imagine if you were, being ascended into heaven, you would see the stars and the light, and everything would look differently because you have different eyes too. Remember, these earthly eyes can only pick up so much. And if you're doing an outer body experience, if you're having a vision, you'll see more. Don't you think? Anyway, well, our hour is up. We accomplished so much. I'm going to mark this in the book where we left off, chapter 20. And I remember I was just reading out of this one here. This is the book of Enoch. It's kind of good. Anyway, I've been reading through that over and over. Hope you all enjoyed that, our little discussion. And if you want to discuss this more with me, you just be happy right on to come on and we will discuss it. Send me an email and, we will figure it out. But until then, we're going to keep talking about religion. And anybody wants to talk about religion, you just come right on and we will talk religion, good, bad, or otherwise. I don't care what your view is. I have mine, you have yours, and we all go home and laugh about it. But I hope you're not indoctrinated to some religion where you give all your money, all your time and stuff. Not saying that congregating together is a bad thing. I'm just saying that when you belong and you follow somebody else's man-made rules, it doesn't always work out so great. I set a rule and I say, y'all got to jump on one foot and yell out my name, and you don't do it. Well, if I was God, I'd be saying, see, that guy didn't obey me. I only want righteous people here. People who can jump on one foot and yell out my name, holding up one hand. And pretty soon everybody's doing that. I'm happy as can be. See, they're yelling out, praising me, and jumping on one foot. Anybody who don't do that, you are a sinner. Put it that way. There, I invented a religion. Now everybody follow it. It is funny. It is funny. But you know what I say? I say, go out, be the best person you possibly can be. Go out and do something fun and exciting. Live life. Live. That's what I say. Live. Find your truth. Do something nice for somebody else. See how it makes you feel. Go out and share the wisdom that you have. Even if people don't want to hear it, you put it out there. Maybe somebody will pick it up. Go out. Remember always, be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. I love you all. Peace, everybody.